Mike McDaniels might be one of the most overrated coaches in the NFL right now. I don't hate Mike McDaniels. I don't think he's the worst. I'm not calling for his job. I think he's kind of funny sometimes, but regarding his coaching position, I think he's extremely overrated. With NFL fans and NFL media, the storylines are that Mike McDaniels is an NFL genius, bringing this new wave of offensive play calling. And originally, I kind of bought into it. But after watching the Dolphins finish up their regular and postseason, the hype around Mike McDaniels definitely died down, and I haven't seen much conversation around it. But I have extreme doubt that Mike McDaniels and the Dolphins can be a winning football team. I know this is only McDaniels' second season in the NFL, but if this season, his third one, goes how his first or second did, there is going to be a lot of concerns. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins are performing next season, maybe midway through 2024 season, people could start to question, is McDaniels a winning coach? There at the beginning, you got to see all of the plays where he had Tua throw behind the line of scrimmage. It wasn't really working well, and they continued to do it. I'll get more into the play calling and about the KC playoff game in a moment. But first, I want to look at the past two seasons for McDaniels. Looking at season one, what big games did he win? Well, week 2 against the Ravens, that was a phenomenal comeback. Week 3, beat Josh Allen and the Bills. After that, they start the season 8-3, and then they don't win the division, dropping 5 games in a row, and they lose to the Bills in the playoffs. They almost beat the Bills without Tua. But you don't get anything in the NFL for almost winning games. And then this season, it gets worse. What good teams did they beat? They lose to the Bills week 4. They lose to the Eagles week 7. They lose to the Chiefs week 9. They even lost to the Titans week 14. And they lose to the Ravens week 17. And they lose to the Bills again week 18. They don't win the division. And then they lose to KC in the playoffs. Here you're going to see every offensive play from the wild card game against KC, but just from looking at that over the past 2 seasons, besides beating the Bills and Ravens early in McDaniels' career, they beat up on bad teams during the regular season, they get first place in the division, and then by week 16-17 they start losing. Then they're a wild card team, they don't get home field advantage, and then they lose round 1 of the playoffs. It's happened 2 years in a row, and it was literally identical. Against KC in the playoffs this season, they were terrible. Their defense even held them in this game, but it was embarrassing offensively. And I know Tua doesn't play well in the cold, and I know it was extremely cold, and I know Waddle also had an injury, but there just comes a point where they're all out on the field. Like, both quarterbacks are in the same element. Tua showed that he could throw it down the field accurately. He found Tyreek open for that touchdown, even with Tyreek getting held with PI. And their defense, with so many injuries, kept them in the game. And McDaniels just kept calling the screens. He kept calling the ball to be thrown behind the line of scrimmage, and it wasn't working. And he kept calling it. And his play style is drop back 2 seconds to throw the ball, get it out quick. And I think it works sometimes. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it wasn't working against the Chiefs. And during halftime, he didn't change anything. The Dolphins came back out into the field and continued to suck. And they had a few glimpses of improved offense where they started getting the ball down the field with a few good throws to open wide receivers. And I was like, that's good. Keep doing that. Keep pushing the ball downfield. So they get 40 yards down the field after 2 good throws from Tua, and then the next play is a screen that gets blown up and doesn't work, and you lose all your momentum. I know the Chiefs defense was also historically great last season. They had one of the best playoff defenses maybe ever. I understand that, but good teams are going to have good defenses, like the Ravens, the Bills. Can the Dolphins ever consistently beat teams like this? Will they ever be able to win 1 or 2 playoff games at least under McDaniels? There's so many excuses you can come up with for the Dolphins. Tua was injured. It was cold. The Chiefs were really good. It's Patrick Mahomes. They weren't at home. Waddle was hurt. Their defense isn't the best, but at the same time, you have Tyreek Hill, who's some people argue to be the best player in football right now. Also, they weren't able to get the run game going at all against the Chiefs, so it's a little bit understandable. I just felt like the play calling, get some more throws downfield. Stop throwing it behind the line of scrimmage. Let Tua go through his progressions. There was some plays where he had time in the pocket to throw the ball. I just feel like the play calling could have been a lot better, and they changed nothing. They made 0 adjustments at halftime. Did McDaniels really have one game plan and not have anything else? I think he's overrated right now, just with the media and the hype around him. Not saying he's a bad coach. I just think he's a little overrated for how good people think he is at play calling and his offensive schemes. I understand though if you disagree with me. I wouldn't say it's a fact that he's overrated. That's just my opinion. Next season though, I think he's gonna be up for the test. I think it's kind of a decider year for him. If the defense plays all right next season and the Dolphins beat up on bad teams and can't do anything against the better teams, then make the playoffs and lose in the first round, or don't even make the playoffs, I think that would definitely spark a flame, and you'd see a lot of talk about, is McDaniels the right coach for the Dolphins? You have Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle, a chain, Mostert, and a manageable quarterback, because Tua is not amazing, but he's not terrible. He has an arm on him. He's shown that he can be great throwing into these speedsters. I just think it's all pretty interesting. I haven't really seen many people talk about it, and I felt like the Dolphins' loss to the Chiefs was way more embarrassing than what most people thought. And just the way they've thrown away their division the last 2 seasons. The way they lost to Buffalo week 18 for the division after having it pretty much the whole season in Buffalo, looking terrible, and then coming back, and then they just gave it away. I haven't seen really anybody talk about, are the Dolphins Tua or McDaniels overrated? I think they are a bit. And is this a hot take? Do people agree with me? Let me know in the comment section below. Like when I'm looking at the Dolphins playing a team, if it's like the Bears or if it's like the Panthers, I'm like, all right, Dolphins will win. But if they're going up against Chiefs, Ravens, even like a team like the Steelers, I think they could lose to the Steelers. I just have very little faith in the Dolphins winning games against teams that are above average. And will they ever be able to get past KC, Buffalo, the Ravens? The Bengals will probably be good again next year. Probably even the Steelers, the Browns, the Texans now, even the Colts. I just don't know if the Dolphins will ever make it to the AFC Championship even with Mike McDaniels, just the way things have been going. I just think it's an interesting trend that's been going on. I wanted to put it out there. I hope I get proved wrong. I hope McDaniels switches things up, or maybe the team just comes together. Maybe they get a better O-line. That's what they're needing. Something. Be interesting to see, because right now I don't believe Tua is a winning quarterback. I don't know if I trust his schemes 100% to like win playoff games consistently. Or maybe I'm just overreacting and the Bills and Chiefs are just had really good games. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoy my content, I'd appreciate if you could like and subscribe. Helps me out a lot. And thanks for watching.